Good evening, you're watching News Mongolia MNB World. I'm your host, I'm Batar. And for top stories, 2,433 confirmed cases and 6 additional deaths reported. The new airport expected to receive 3 million tourists annually. The Under-23 women's team won on the first day of the Nations League series. And for the news, stay tuned. The Ministry of Health reported that 2,433 new COVID-19 cases were confirmed on Wednesday and 6 more people have died.
The Ministry of Health on August 25th reported that 2,433 new coronavirus cases were detected in the past 24 hours, after tests were carried out at PCR laboratories across the country. Also, 1,479 patients recorded within the past 24 hours. Sadly, 6 more people died due to COVID-19 complications, raising the country's death toll to 913. 31 cases were imported, 850 were confirmed in Ulaanbaatar, and the remaining 1,552 in the provinces. 11,592 COVID-19 patients are being treated at hospitals nationwide. Additionally, 10,559 patients are being treated at home. Among the 11,592 COVID-19 patients being treated at hospitals, 6,772 are showing mild symptoms of illness and 187 are in critical condition.
The Japanese embassy in Mongolia has launched a press campaign to introduce the operations of the new Chinggis Khan International Airport. The airport holds a minimum capacity of receiving 3 million tourists every year.
During the press campaign, the ambassador of Japan to Mongolia was introduced to a construction of the new airport, which was built with a soft loan of 65.657 billion Japanese yen from the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA. The airport, which is about 2.5 times bigger than the old one, holds a minimum capacity of receiving 3 million travelers annually and a total capacity of 4.5 million travelers. The airport has a big car park and planes are able to land in either a western or eastern direction despite the prevailing wind conditions. As part of the project, about 150 officials from the Mongolian aviation sector have received training in Japan.
In order to reduce Ulaanbaatar's urban concentration, Hushik Valley in 2 provinces plan to be developed as a satellite city.
On Tuesday, Prime Minister Oyun held a meeting with the residents of 2 provinces. He introduced the government's plan to develop the Hushik Valley as a core metropolitan area in which the new airport is located.
The development of Hushik Valley is one of the main strategic goals of the current government. Therefore, as Prime Minister, I'll put much focus on 2 provinces.
Residents of 2 provinces confess that they usually have to go to the capital city to get public services. They want to see an improvement in their local infrastructure. The Prime Minister noted that the ongoing digital shift of public services, where residents can access a variety of services through an application. According to the government's plan, a residential area housing 150,000 residents will be built in the Hushik Valley, which includes apartments, schools, and kindergartens. The first step would be to build roads and infrastructure.
In the upcoming school year, there will be both online and in-class teaching sessions. Whether schools in the provinces are ready for the digital shift is currently under discussion.
Next week, schools will reopen amidst the pandemic. There are several new features in the upcoming school year. For instance, school psychologists will work at schools for the first time. Also, students will have a mixture of online and in-class lessons. The Ministry of Education in Khamaslang spent time in Urhanga province to discuss whether rural schools are ready for the digital shift. Local education staff introduced how they are coping with the new system with limited availability of the internet.
We have given workbooks for children without access to the internet. Some children use their parents' cell phone, which connects to a 3G system. Most of the time, we hand over workbooks and study materials to our children. In the past 2 years, so many children have been left behind in learning when in-class sessions were not possible. Also, children in the countryside have become psychologically vulnerable because they are inundated with news about COVID-19.
In our situation, in-class learning is most effective. When it comes to online learning, many children don't have smartphones. Even if they do, they don't know how to use it. They definitely need someone's help to be able to learn online, and that's a big issue. Also, teachers are currently not capable of paying attention to each student's performance as they learn online.
Teachers and school staff believe that in-class learning can help students to keep up their classes. The Ministry of Education is providing provincial teachers with guidelines on the Keep Up program. However, the number of coronavirus infections is rising in the countryside. The first month of school will show us whether in-class learning can continue.
Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Now let's take a look at Mongolia's current affairs.
Mongolian scientists have started to develop a PCR test, reports Ministry of Health in World. Scientists at the Horos laboratory have launched a startup company to develop a PCR test that can diagnose coronavirus infections, said Minister in World. Saliva and other main diagnostic tests can then be produced locally in Mongolia. The Ministry of Health is planning to purchase the first 10,000 tests from the company with the aim of supporting its operations as much as possible. In the future, hospitals will be able to order and widely use this diagnosing device. This will bring us one step closer to detect and distinguish coronavirus mutations using a domestically produced device, added the minister.
Due to the excessive periods of rain, countryside roads have collapsed in several areas. Some roads are currently blocked by flooding.
Because of consistent heavy rain that occurred this summer, a total of 29 collapsed roads have been recorded in the countryside. At this moment, the roads between Lung, Dashinchilang and Batsingel Sums are badly damaged. 6 particular spots have reported heavy damage. Engineers have been dispatched to the areas to assess the damage and work on repairs. Some parts of the road have fallen apart due to flood waters and are being repaired. The traffic is continuing as normal using additional dirt roads.
The most serious damage occurred at the intersection of Lungsum. Some parts of the road are completely covered by flood water. Currently, repairs are ongoing and are about 50% complete.
According to a study done by Ministry of Road Transport, there are 208 vulnerable spots prone to flood water in the countryside. The precautionary measures are being carried out by creating channels and canals. This year, 31 billion Mongolian tugruk has been allocated for repairs to countryside roads. Experts say roads must be repaired every 4 to 7 years. Roads that have been in usage of more than 13 years must undergo major repair. As of today, most of the countryside roads are due to receive major renovation. Since August 20th, heavy rains occurred in most provinces. Despite broken roads, there were many emergency calls of houses and cars affected by flood waters. The National Emergency Management Agency received over 280 calls related to flooding. Among them were 79 cases of cars being carried away by flood waters.
The women's 3x3 basketball under-23 team, led by Olympic athlete Holang, won its first day of the Nations League last night. The FIBA 3x3 under-23 Nations League is divided into 5 zones: Europe 1, Europe 2, Europe, America, Africa, Asia, and under-21. Mongolia's men's and women's teams will compete in the Africa-Asia zone with teams from Nigeria, Algeria, and Egypt. The first series of the region is taking place in the Egyptian city of October 6 with a one-day break for 7 days. Mongolia's under-23 women's national team defeated Egypt's team 16-13 in the group, but lost to Egypt's under-21 team 17-18 and finished second in the group. They then played Egypt's under-23 team again for the first day's title, winning 21-19 in the last minute. The national men's team lost to Egypt in both under-21 and under-23. Three men's team are Mongolia, Egypt and Egypt under-21 will play in the men's and women's round, and the two with the high scores will advance to the finals to determine the winner of the day. The competition lasts for 3 days, and after the third day there is a 1-day break and then 3 more days of the championships. The first series of the Nations League ended with 6 wins. Now let's take a look at the weather forecast of world's major cities. Well, that's all for today, and thank you for staying with us. We will see you tomorrow with more news and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.